repair companies around the place, just like things like Army Matador trucks were reused in the timber industry. Some of the petrol engines were so thirsty, you'll see a lot of them have been re-engined just after the Second World War. Was using it on his farm in Anglesey, and realised that the first Land Rovers with Rover buys into the idea, they like it, and so they're made with aluminium bodies, just because it was what was cheap and available at the time. So you can see different variants of the Land Rover driving around here. We've got long wheelbase, short wheelbase, forward control Land Rovers. The British Army's just coming to the end of its use of the Land Rover. I say they're coming to the end, they're no doubt being, but there is a competition on at the moment where they're starting to look for the Land Rover replacement, whether that's going to be something like a Toyota or one of the governments. So the Soviet Union used many American vehicles in World War II, Lend-Lease. America and Britain, we were giving vehicles. You can see here's a GMC truck going along, Studebaker trucks going throughout the whole of the Second World War. The Soviet Union after World War II, of how the capitalist West helped the Soviet Union win the Great Patriotic War. It's only more recently that where some of the archives were opened up for a while. The Soviet Union, it wasn't good propaganda-wise for them to admit that actually some of the American stuff was very good, because at a certain point in their history, it was things such as British Valentine tanks were pretty much keeping the Red Army going when they were moving their tank factories behind the Ural Mountains. Other vehicles going past, you can see a Foden, you can see one of those drops vehicles they call. Crane on, we've got things like these GMC REO trucks, that just keeps the military going all the time. And you think of some of the tanks that we've got here today, one lap of this arena is about a gallon of fuel for some of them, you can imagine. A lot of criticism in Afghanistan. Basically the problem there was the bad guys got a bigger bomb all the time, so whatever it is you come out with, someone's out to defeat the level of armour protection. So we ended up creating a family of what they called MRAP vehicles. They were vehicles that were given extra layers of protection to protect the crews inside and those who were being transported against roadside bombs and IEDs, basically improvised explosive devices like mines, shells put by the side of the road, triggered sometimes with pressure plates, sometimes with a mobile phone signal. We've got other vehicles coming around. Pinzgauer, British Army used some of these lightweight vehicles, parachute regiment, very good off-road ability. You can see some of them, they've just got thin metal skin, sometimes only canvas covers on them. At times, slowly but surely, wheel technology has caught up with tracks, but on the whole, tracks have still got that advantage. Now we can see that little Second World War British scout car, the Dingo, racing around there, 55 miles an hour on the open road. You know, for David, it's a beautifully designed and manufactured vehicle, absolutely perfect for its job. It's been mentioned already, 5 forward, 5 reverse gears. If you're the scouting vehicle, it's got a 19 radio set in the back. Off it goes, reporting what it's seeing, what it's finding around the place, and radioing that back to the main force formation. Why it wants 5 reverse gears is if you're the point vehicle or doing reconnaissance, imagine you're going down some narrow country lane, German tank at the other end, you do not want to be hanging around doing a 3-point turn. So you can whack it into reverse and drive backwards. The driver's seat's actually angled, he's got a rear view vision port behind him, and he can drive just as fast backwards all through. All the Americans were designing, and you're looking there at the sort of truck that was being used in the Vietnam War, sold on as so much American kit or gifted to many countries around the world, so still in use all over the place. So that very distinctive whistling sound as it drives around the place, you can hear there as it's driving on. other vehicles. So one thing that was introduced, again, mainly Afghanistan, Iraq, the quad bike. This idea of, we've all had armoured motorcycles in the British military since the First World War. First World War they were using not just for sending messages on a motorbike, but we had something called the Motor Machine Gun Corps at one point, which we were putting Vickers machine guns on motorcycle sidecars. The trouble was, in the Western Front, as soon as that was captured and were actually keeping away from the coast in North Africa, Lawrence read about that raid and it gave him ideas about how you might be able to use and disappear off again. And so motorcycles, motorcars used on the Western Front sparingly. Kept some of the kit in service from Iraq and Afghanistan, some of it we passed on or got rid of relatively quickly because it was in essence just bought for that particular type of campaign. Now we'll see some more of the CVR, Army loves its abbreviation, CVRT. That's the Scorpion tank on the back of that DROPS vehicle there. As it's showing off how mobile the vehicle is, the Foden DROPS vehicle. That's the Action Man tank. If you're a bloke of a certain age, you always lusted after the Action Man Scorpion-like tank. Originally designed all the way back, they start the program in the 50s, designed in the 60s, comes into service. It's part of a family of vehicles built with the same engine, track system. This is imagination, let's put it that way, but I've seen an awful lot of people walk away scratching their heads thinking I never knew the SAS used a Robin Reliant at any point. Put it bluntly, they did everything that the Austin Champ could do at a third of the price. By the mid-1950s, this whole idea of specialised vehicles, unless it was armoured, because there's no civilian role for armoured vehicles, so you don't get civilian practice doing it. So we pretty quickly said goodbye to the Austin Champ and took on the Land Rover instead. It's going to cost you more. On the whole, tends to be a bit cheaper for militaries. Ferret going around, Mark 1 Ferret, open top there. It's got the cage on the back that was put on there for the Gulf War, so you can carry kit with you, but still allow you access to the engine in the rear. Rolls-Royce petrol engine there, part of that G series, put in the back of the Ferret. And there's amazingly Ferrets out of service. SAS Jeep, lots. There's only a couple of original SAS Jeeps in existence. Most of these now you'll see driving around are conversions that have been done to look like them. Vickers K guns on, obviously, with all these programs on the SAS. And we've actually got a real in-service vehicle going around at the moment. There you can see a Jackal driving around. This was put together by Supercat for the Gulf, for the Afghanistan campaign. And what you look they're employed in vehicles still. British Army still using them. They've got a new variant just coming in. There's a variant also with 6-wheel, which they can change the suspension on that from the cab, so they can pump up the suspension if needs be, depending on the terrain they're going over. Open top for very good visibility all around the place. So, like so many things these days, we have that issue about whatever the guys inside the vehicle do, it's being recorded by someone somewhere, which perhaps stops them pushing the vehicles beyond their actual limits. So other things, the military, the weird thing is, of course, the military has to do everything that civilian contractors would normally do in civilian life. So we've got a road roller there. Again, if you think of things like Normandy, the Royal Air Force, US Air Force had to quickly step up to create airfields, recreate road in bombed areas, etc. So you're going to have things like road rollers, dozers, being able to flatten and lay out roads as well there. So you'll see sometimes the equipment was taken straight to passages, recovery companies all around the country. logging industry, transport industry that way ended up using certain sections of military vehicle. The one they always found hard to repurpose, armour. Armoured vehicles, very hard, unless you cut all the armour plate off and just use